Snipers, you have to see what's happening in the Bitcoin price this Wednesday, as this is a momentous day for Bitcoin, especially for those tuned into the Snipers channel, because today Bitcoin tested the major volume resistance that we've been monitoring here on the Snipers channel over the last few weeks. If we look at the chart, notice how today Bitcoin's candle high was 23,816, just above our major resistance of 23,795. It is not a coincidence that on the micro timeframes, on the hourly chart, as soon as we tested this major resistance at 23,795, we saw a bearish engulfing rejection candle here. And then if we go into the monthly chart, notice how the macro is also playing part with Bitcoin finding resistance here at the 50-month moving average, where price action is currently sitting at 23,168. There's a lot to talk about today on this video, Snipers. Stay tuned, and I'll tell you what, not only is Bitcoin making a move, but the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is also testing a major support level. We have to talk about that. The S&P 500 and the DXY doing some very interesting things that we are going to discuss on this video. But then more importantly, Bitcoin dominance starting to move up aggressively. What does this mean for the cryptocurrency market overall? Because are we heading into a bull market, or is this just a relief rally to continue into this bear market, potentially to see further lows, maybe come back down below 20,000 to fill the CME gap? We're gonna talk about that today. As a matter of fact, what I wanna show you guys on the charts is our bear market resistance and support levels. Notice how our realized price right now is sitting at 19,782. Why is that important? Well, understand this, right now on the Bitcoin CME charts, if we were to pull up the CME charts, there is a CME gap here at 19,995. We formed the CME gap when Bitcoin saw some recent momentum, and we have yet to fill this gap. As a matter of fact, there's also a gap up top. This picture right here actually depicts the gaps a lot better than on my chart. Notice how it says here, Bitcoin filled the recent gap on the little drop, but we still have a massive one at 30,000. It's actually right around that $29,000 level, and one at 20,000, the one that we just discussed. So a CME gap at 30,000 US dollars and 20,000 US dollars. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Of course, we're eventually going to fill those gaps. The question is, which one are we going to fill first? 30,000 US dollars or 20,000 US dollars? Well, based on this chart, notice how it says here, the way I look at it, buy if we get to 20,000 and sell if we get to 30,000. I like how this was put here on this tweet. And lastly, notice how the S&P 500 is in a rising wedge. Sometimes this could be considered a bearish pattern. If we do see downside here and we break this support level, does that mean it's going to affect the cryptocurrency market? We're going to talk about that today as we go into the four-dimensional revolving part, Snipers. But I do want to first complete our technical analysis here on Bitcoin on the micro and macro timeframes to understand what's most significant right now with Bitcoin now testing the major range resistance. For those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel over the last few weeks, this is not a surprise. As a matter of fact, as soon as we had one daily candle close above 17,204, I told each and every one of you tuned into this channel that the next immediate price target to the upside was going to be the $23,795 level, or even the $24,300 level, because remember, the red lines are the most important levels. As a matter of fact, Snipers, if we were to just get price action above 24,300, guess what the next price target is? 35,000 US dollars, because that opens up the door to an immense amount of upside. As a matter of fact, we are talking about 43% more upside for Bitcoin just getting above 24,300. That right now is the most important resistance level in the immediate short term. If we get above 24,300, guess what? I believe we're going to fill the CME gap at 30,000 first before we fill the one at 20,000. Now, let's say we do see a slowdown. Let's say the S&P 500 rejects the resistance that it's currently facing, breaks the support of the rising wedge. Then at that point, if we start to see the micro timeframes fall apart, so far they are not, then we could talk about Bitcoin coming back down to test the 200-day moving average, showing confluence at 19,798, the 2018 previous all-time high, the realized price for Bitcoin here, 19,782, and where we have the CME gap. Makes sense, Snipers? Pretty easy. The charts are black and white. They're all predictable. And that's why you're tuned into the best cryptocurrency technical analysis channel on the internet. So Bitcoin right now has two options: break this major resistance at 24,300, go straight to 30,000, or find some resistance here. The bears come in and they bring Bitcoin back down to test this 200-day moving average. Either one of those scenarios is extremely healthy, because guess what? Once we broke above the 200-day moving average, Bitcoin has yet to test it as a support level. So in order for us to have a continuation move to the upside, it would be extremely healthy for Bitcoin to come back down and test the 200-day moving average. And so either one of these scenarios could be considered bullish. The only way we could be considering this potential price action bearish is if we break below the 200-day moving average, which so far we cannot make that case, because if we dive into the charts, into the micro time frames for those margin traders, what you'll notice here, if we pull up the volume, we've been talking about this on the Snipers channel over the last few weeks, is the fact that we've been monitoring the institutional volume, and notice how on the Bitcoin USDT pairing on Binance, we have institutional sell pressure that equates to the amount of buy pressure inside of this range here, with a support of 17,200, a resistance of 24,300, or even 23,795. Either one of those can be considered the resistance levels. Inside this range, we are finally seeing some institutional buy pressure and sell pressure, and the sell pressure comes in right around that $22,000 level. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that as much as there are buyers, there are also sellers. But when we look at the market structure, notice how all we're seeing right now is another bull flag, right? And 8 out of 10 times when you form a flag like this, you're gonna go in the same direction as the previous breakout. And at this exact area that we're currently at here at 23,000, the next potential move is to the upside. 8 out of 10 chance here that we see the same direction of a breakout here to the upside. And of course, there's still that chance though that we could reject this level, especially because we know there's so much resistance here. We're also finding resistance here at the 50-month moving average. And so we understand what's happening here to Bitcoin, but what about the revolving parts that influence Bitcoin? Because here on the Snipers channel, we are the only channel on the internet that covers the 4-dimensional parts of the equity markets, the commodity markets, as well as parts of the cryptocurrency market that a lot of people just overlook, like Bitcoin dominance or the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. Why is the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart so important, by the way? Well, the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is a leading indicator for all other altcoins. So let's look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because interestingly enough, if we want to assume that this is a healthy break to the upside for Bitcoin, we'd also like to see some strength with altcoins, especially like Ethereum, but we're not seeing that, indicating that we are still potentially seeing the bear market relief rally that could potentially lead to further lows, especially if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is selling off. What does that mean? Technically, in the most fundamental sense, it means that if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is selling off and Bitcoin is going up, then the only reason Bitcoin is going up is because Ethereum is just moving into Bitcoin. That's something that we'll continue to monitor, Snipers. But none of this being a surprise here, I'll quickly talk about Ethereum to wrap up this video. Ethereum is inside of the range with a support of 1277 as a volume support and a resistance of 1760. We've yet to test 1760. We still have some room to the upside here for Ethereum, but it's going to be tough for Ethereum to get to 1760 if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart keeps selling off. So let's continue to monitor this. That's the range that Ethereum to the US dollar pairing is in. And other than that, I'll mention this gold, a great start to the week. And as a matter of fact, a great start to the year. Gold has been extremely strong. It looks like it's about to enter price discovery. So we'll have to continue to monitor gold as it breaks potentially 2,000 per ounce. That could take gold into another potential bull market here in the next year to 2 years, especially if we break that previous all-time high. So gold has been extremely strong. The gold to Bitcoin chart has been interesting. I want to bring this back up. Notice how we're testing the 200-day moving average. Gold's valuation against Bitcoin peaked out here and rejected the 200-week moving average. And it's funny because in the 2018 bear market, the gold to Bitcoin valuation never got above that 200-week moving average. You can see even right now, we're failing to get above that 200-week moving average. That's a very interesting puzzle piece. If we break above it, that would be interesting for Bitcoin, because that could actually indicate some downside and weakness in Bitcoin. But this right now actually looks really good for Bitcoin. The fact that we're rejecting the 200-week, if we continue to come down, maybe we form new lows if Bitcoin actually does see that move to 35,000 or 37,000. And if gold doesn't budge, that could be the case. So we'll continue to monitor that, but I feel like the gold to Bitcoin chart can sometimes confuse people. But for those tuned in the Sniper channel, we have the most accurate cryptocurrency technical analysis on the internet. We knew when Bitcoin broke 17,200, the next price target was 24,000 US dollars. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. We're living that experience right now. And it's all because of the fact that we knew, and we've had these levels on our charts for years, that 24,300 was the major resistance for volume and 17,200 was the major support for volume, and everything in between were just minor roadblocks, right? We had 19,798, minor roadblock. We had some market structural resistance levels in the way. We cleared past all of them, tested 24,000 today. So congratulations for those tuned into the best cryptocurrency technical analysis channel on the internet. We have a lot to monitor this week. I'll keep you guys updated when it matters the most. The S&P 500 still testing a major resistance level. The DXY still selling off, has yet to see any sort of a reversal. Bitcoin finally testing its major resistance level, but hasn't broke it yet. And so let's continue to monitor Bitcoin. That $20,000 CME gap or that $30,000 CME gap, which one do you think it's going to fill first? Put it in the comments below, snipers. Total cryptocurrency market cap flirting around that $1 trillion level. That's good to see, a big even there. And you can also see here the Bitcoin against SPY chart is trying to get towards this 200-week moving average as well. We have yet to test it. So clearly we do have some resistance on the way, as I mentioned in our previous video, snipers. So we'll continue to monitor the charts as always, but we saw an immediate rejection today when Bitcoin reached 23,795. That's totally garden variety market behavior, which means that's what the market's supposed to do at a major resistance level. It's supposed to reject it. And so I think over the next 48 hours coming into the close for Friday, it's going to be extremely important to monitor Bitcoin over the next few days to see, is it going to break through this resistance level as well? Because if it does, a lot more upside in store for Bitcoin. But if we see a rejection, that's totally fine. We come down to test 19,800, we fill the CME gap, we get the test of the 200-day moving average, and then we reevaluate the situation. And with that, thank you all, snipers, for tuning into the channel today. If you like this video, remember to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Snipers out.